determination, such hope. Their hope gives me hope. Their determination gives me more determination. And as we try to learn from this tragedy and move on and not make these kinds of mistakes in the future, we find that it is very difficult to change entrenched ways. A little bit was done last night at 1:30 in the morning in the passage of the funding bill for all of the appropriations, because there were a couple of provisions put in there that were first steps, fix NICS, and a provision of Safe Schools Act. But that's just a first step in a road of a very long journey. And so there's a long way to go. And that's what these students are here for. This long road certainly starts with a universal background check for the acquisition of a gun. And we need to get the assault rifles and the large capacity magazines off the streets. Well, thank you. And I know that's what you're here for. And what we hope is that by you being here today, you are demanding it, and we hope to see your action. Your marching today put action into eventual legislation. We're delighted to have Gabby Giffords and her husband Mark. Now it's my pleasure to introduce the congressman from Broward County, Congressman Ted Dortch.
Thanks. Thanks, Senator Nelson. I'm really thrilled to be here. After the horrific tragedy of Marjory Stoneman Douglas, students decided that they weren't going to simply allow this tragedy to become another statistic in a long line of horrific tragedies, horrific acts of gun violence. And they started a movement, and they decided there was going to be a march, and we knew that it would be different. And for everyone who is standing here this morning with this small but representative group of the students who will be flooding into the city of Washington, we know it's different. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the energy that we feel already this morning. And thank you for the change that you're going to bring to our country. It's an honor to be here with Congresswoman Giffords and Mark, Kelly. I'm proud to stand here with Senator Nelson and Senator Klobuchar. In order for us to accomplish all of the things that we need to do to bring about change, it's going to require a team. And this team is going to only continue to grow. It's been now slightly more than 5 weeks since the horrific mass shooting at Douglas. The conversation continues. It didn't go away, and the fight lives on, and the fight is really just beginning. The headlines were sadly no different than we're so accustomed to seeing. The acts of violence, gun violence that takes place in every part of our country, in cities and suburbs, in schools, at concerts, in churches, and in our communities. We have an important role to play in ensuring that no student should ever be afraid to walk down the hallways of their school or to walk down the streets of their neighborhoods. Parents shouldn't have to worry about sending their kids off to school in the morning and worry whether they're going to come home at the end of the day. It is our job, and everyone working in that building behind us, to pass laws to keep our communities safe. We all know what's happening tomorrow. The Stoneman Douglas students have energized a nation. High school students, college students from around the country will be marching here in Washington and in more than 800 cities all across this country and across the globe. What Congress passed yesterday, as Senator Nelson mentioned, was but a small first step. The Stop School Violence Act, Fix NICS, lifting the ban on research into gun violence, those are worthwhile steps to take. But the march tomorrow will remind people that universal background checks that have the support of over 90% of the American people need to have a vote on the floor of the House and Senate, and that high-capacity magazines and weapons of war should have no place in our communities. Congress did more yesterday than they've done in recent memory, and they did it because of these students and the movement that they've started. But if the Speaker and the Senate Majority Leader really want to honor the memories of the lives tragically lost at Stoneman Douglas and throughout our country, they will do what is necessary to stand up to the gun lobby and stand up for the families and for these kids. It's my honor now to introduce Dimitri Hoff, who is a constituent of mine. Dimitri, coming up. He's a student at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School. Dimitri is a Floridian of Brazilian descent. He's always had a fascination with languages and foreign cultures. Multilingual, he plans to merge this passion with his interest in business to pursue a dual degree in international business and marketing at Florida International University next year. On February 14th, while Dimitri was in his math class, a gunman opened fire in his school, and after this indescribable tragedy, he, a friend and a former teacher, created a nonprofit called Students Speak Up, which aims to promote civic engagement among United States youth. There is no better example of the youth of our country becoming engaged than this march, and we're fortunate that Dimitri and so many other students have joined us here this morning. Dimitri, I'm happy to turn it over to you.
First and foremost, I would like to thank Giffords for their invaluable support during these most troubling of times. If it wasn't for them, 200 students from Marjory Stoneman Douglas would not be standing before you here today, including myself. But I would also like to thank them for their tireless and valiant efforts in fighting the epidemic of gun violence in America. I would like to thank former Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords and Captain Mark Kelly for creating Giffords and having the courage to fight gun violence. I'm happy to be speaking with you all here today, on the day before the March for Our Lives, a day that will go down in the history books as the greatest show of student activism in our great nation. I know at times it may seem like our words simply spill from our mouths, fall through the cracks of our fingers, seep into the ground, and become lost. But it is in the ground where things grow. With determination, motivation, inspiration, passion, our words will sprout a stem of hope. And with that hope, it will grow into a strong tree, with roots that reach deep into the well of unity and solidarity and leaves that transpire the essence of justice. At times it may seem like we are alone, and our words endlessly echo throughout the halls as we speak our truths. But I urge you to look around right now at the sisters, brothers.
Yeah, you got 1 second. Hey, if anybody, there's a brown bag in the bush here that it's somebody's backpack. If anybody owns that backpack, we need to get it out of the bush, or the Capitol Police are going to make us all go away in a big hurry. Does anybody leave their backpack over here?
Brown briefcase.
Brown briefcase. Who owns the brown briefcase? Brown leather briefcase? Anybody? Yours? Okay, so let's go. Why don't you go over there and get it, and then we could keep this thing going.
Hey, thanks very much.
All right. Back to you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
At times it may seem like we are alone, and our words endlessly echo throughout empty halls as we speak our truths. But I urge you to look around right now at the sisters, brothers, mother, fathers, and friends, all standing behind you with arms interlocked. They stand in solidarity with you. They support you. Your words will never go unheard, nor your actions unseen, for we all stand behind you. Frederick Douglass once said, "I prayed for 20 years, but received no answer until I prayed with my legs." So I stand before you here today to invite you, students and parents from across America. Let us pray with our legs. let us march in unison to the rhythm of justice. Because I say enough is enough. To you, Senator Marco Rubio, for dancing around our questions, enough is enough. To you, the National Rifle Association, for caring more about your guns in our lives, enough is enough. To you, the politicians in Washington, for not hearing our cries for justice, enough is enough. To you, President Donald Trump, for breaking your promises, enough is enough. We students have become victims of our government's glaring inaction, but never again. We have come here today to hold accountable politicians and their disturbing inaction. Never again will our voices, students' voices, be shunned into silence. Never again will we allow our government to become corrupt with manipulating interest groups. Never again will we allow one more school to have its sanctity stripped away and replaced with the sacrilege of gun violence. Never again will we allow a shattered community to erect memorials in front of schools. Never again will we allow parents to fear about their children never coming home. Enough is enough. Our words are seeds and our actions are the care they need to grow and prosper. But our government has been ripping our roots from the ground and depleting us of our nutrients. But never again. Students and parents of America, unite. Use your voices. They are powerful, they are worthy. Speak up and you will be heard. To the politicians of America, there is still time to do the right thing. Rectify your wrongdoings and actually do something to protect your constituents. Stop being coerced by the National Rifle Association. I urge you, propose meaningful gun safety laws, vote yea to bills that advance gun control, and sing along with us to the melody of justice. Never again, never again, never again. America, we are your future. Why won't you protect us? Thank you.
Dimitri, thank you for your powerful words. It's now my honor to introduce Keyshawn Newman from Chicago. Keyshawn is a student at Prospective Charter School where he's the president of his student council. He's also active in a number of other activities, including the baseball team and the board game club, and he's involved in the Brave Youth Leaders of St. Sabina. Brave is an organization fighting to stop the violence in communities and bring peace so people can live a safer and peaceful life no matter where they live. Keyshawn?
Hello, my name is Keyshawn Newman. I'm here today from Chicago, Illinois, and I attend Prospective Charter School. I am also a part of Brave Youth Leaders of St. Sabina, which is a group of leaders fighting to stop and make aware of the gun violence in our community, working as one to create a safe environment for our kids and families, no matter where they live. Being a part of Brave brought me here today to tell my story firsthand. Just about 2 years ago, on May 2nd, 2016, my oldest stepbrother, Randall Young, was shot and killed in this senseless gun violence, not too far from our home. He was being a normal teenager. On that day, he was walking his girlfriend to the bus stop, and he was caught in a random gun shootout, which was the result of him losing his life. He was a loving brother and friend to all. He was our protector, and now his life has ended due to this senseless gun violence. Randall isn't another statistic. His life matters just like the lives lost in Parkland, Sandy Hook, Las Vegas, and so many other places in this country. But in Chicago, it's important for all of you to know the gun violence has become a tragic way of life, which shouldn't be the normal way of life. No, we don't have random mass shootings. We have daily shootings, which we pray every day for our safety to and from school and for our neighborhood.